the good.
In the first 5 years, Jubilee performed very well. What we promised in Jubilee and we couldn't effect, we're going to effect through the UDA party.
The bad.
A key question that is at the heart of this political cycle, which is the economy.
Jubilee failed miserably. The handshake politics really came and messed up our agenda.
And the plain hard truth.
Up to today, ODM has never accepted that they lost the 2017 elections. The times I look at our president, it's as if he believes he never won the election. Who is advising Uhuru Kenyatta? We want to have grand projects which have commissions that come with them. You can imagine if somebody was to get 10% for that the highway from the airport, then that would mean that person will be getting what, 630 million. Wheelbarrow is a machine. If you leave it out there, it will not move until somebody pushes it. That is a sign of work. Uhuru Kenyatta should borrow a leaf. His father never had the luxury to manage his transition.
This is the Jacque Maribe Show.
Welcome to the program. Now, we're speaking to Soy Member of Parliament Caleb Kositany, who is also a self-declared diehard and lieutenant of the Deputy President William Ruto and a founding member of the UDA party. Mheshimiwa, thank you so much for joining us on the Jacque Maribe Show.
Thank you.
Among the many titles, one that you formerly held was the Deputy Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, a seat that you were removed from, leading to, an opening to the public of the squabbles that were in Jubilee. So let's start on that note. The fallout within the Jubilee Party, leading to some of you moving and being very vocal that you're in the UDA party. What happened there?
Well, thank you, Jackie. It's very, very surprising what the events that have taken place in Jubilee. Events that we never foresaw that would happen. And up to now, there is no clear explanation as to why the party leader, Jubilee party leader, decided to take us on that route. Jubilee is a very popular party, was a very popular party. It was, when we formed Jubilee, we formed it with the interest of Kenya, not of an individual, the interest of Kenyans at heart, that we wanted to get rid of tribal political parties. We wanted to get rid of tribal kingpins. We wanted to get rid of briefcase political parties. We wanted to come up with a political party that was a replica of what the ANC is in South Africa and what the Chinese political party is, CCPU or something. And we achieved that by collapsing about 13 regional parties. And we came up with Jubilee, which had the absolute majority in Parliament with 172 members of Parliament. It had the majority in the Senate. It has the majority of MCAs elected. And of course, it also had the majority in the Council of Governors. Why President Uhuru decided to create a crisis within his own government and start dismantling Jubilee and bringing in the former opposition. I say former opposition with authority because ODM is no longer playing its role as the opposition. We have seen how a lot of things have gone wrong in this country simply because we don't have an active opposition. Because opposition has joined government. And so it is actually very sad that you have seen that from Jubilee, 172 members of Parliament, the other day, I'm told the President held a PG meeting with, I think, less than 30 members of Parliament, and all from one region, claiming to be Jubilee members. So it's actually very sad. It is only Uhuru Kenyatta who will tell us exactly what happened, why he created a crisis in his own government. He was running government smoothly. He had the best deputy president one would ever want to have, a man who wakes up early and works and has the best interests of this country at heart. So I think it's only the party leader who can tell us why he destroyed Jubilee.
So, Mheshimiwa, are you saying that the fallout within Jubilee was solely to do with the party leader, had nothing to do with the deputy party leader, or even the members of the Jubilee party itself?
Well, it has everything to do with the party leader because, as they say, fish rots from the head. Jubilee, after the 2017 elections, we have never held a party PG meeting. And PG meetings is an organ, it's a very important organ in any political party, a parliamentary group meeting, because that is where you decide on policy. That is where the party leader will whip his party members to go and advance government policy in parliament. And even when they go down to their constituencies to go and I would say report to the people or enlighten the people on what plans the government has for their welfare. And we never held any such PG meetings. Our PG meetings, the two we only held, we can never classify them as PG meetings. They were monologue meetings. First of all, when you get to State House, you are told leave your watch and your phone in the car. The meeting is, the message you get is the meeting starts at 8, so everybody was keeping time. But you end up sitting for 2 to 3 hours waiting for the president to appear. Then he appears and the meeting lasts 20 minutes. You're being told all sorts of, he's talking down upon us, giving us instructions, using unprintable words. It's actually very sad. And remember, I, for example, as a member of Soy Constituency, I was voted in by 70,000 people. So I represent 70,000 people. To be kept there without my phone, without my watch for 3 hours, waiting for one person to come for a meeting that will last 20 minutes. So you can imagine cumulatively, seated there were about representatives of 17 million people. And then we end up, you can't even raise a question on what the president has dictated to you. So that is not how to run a political party. Political parties is meant to be interactive, and we appreciate the deputy president because he has given us that avenue. When he calls us for PGs, his current residents, we start at 8 o'clock, we have discussions, we have a question-answer session. We agree on some issues, we disagree on some, and when we don't disagree, we break into groups, go and discuss, and come up once we have agreed on a strategy and on a particular item, and we all leave the place more united than when we came in. I only wish if Jubilee had been run like that, but sadly it hasn't. So the reason why is the question that is still out there in the air, and only one person can answer that. The party leader.
Now, let's go into the formation of UDA as a party, and questions arising as to why then members like yourself are very vocally, in that party, yet you are still members of parliament through the Jubilee party, and you have ultimately refused to resign.
You see, Jackie, everybody, I knew that question would come up about resignation. But you see, we're quite a number of us. We're about 152 members of the Jubilee and other political parties combined who have believed and we are subscribed to Williams Ruto's style of politics. For us to resign, that will precipitate a mini general election. Our economy now is at its knees. It's on its knees. We really can't subject our country to that level. And again, our people, the people I represent, have not told me to leave Jubilee. But they know for sure in 2022, I am not running on a Jubilee ticket. And we have left Jubilee not because we wanted to leave. We were actually thrown out. We were actually chased out. We were actually bullied out of Jubilee. None other than the party leader went to the party headquarters, where we were contributing our money, paying the rent to some amorphous people we don't even know who we were paying the rent for. We've asked questions. How many floors is Jubilee occupying in that building? Who are we paying rent for? How much are the salaries we are paying? Nobody wants to give that information. What are you using the money you receive from the treasury to fund political parties? What are you using for? And it's running in the billions because Jubilee is a large party, and the money is given based on the membership that you have as a political party. So they're receiving a lot of money, but there's no transparency in that. So the deputy president himself, and we were there with him, he just decided, let me go and sit at our party headquarters and try and do some work for them from there. The Secretary General came and said, declared him persona non grata, and that is when we met and we decided. And when we decided to withdraw our money from Jubilee, the Deputy President, in his magnanimity, said no. That is one area where we disagreed with him. We told him, okay, fine, you keep your contribution. Us, we will remove ours, because we were fed up. There's no need of feeding the dog that is biting you. So we cut our contributions to a bare minimum. And I think going forward, we're going to actually bring it down to zero. I think I'm giving Jubilee 500 shillings. I don't think I need to give them anymore. The other money, we put it into our welfare, which we said, we called it Kazi ni Kazi welfare. And it is doing a lot of work. It is doing a lot of work. And that is why, Jacque, we have formed the party, UDA. Not actually formed, we rebranded a party that was an affiliate of Jubilee, PDR. And we have formed UDA. It's a national party, it's not a tribal party, and that is where we want to go. We want to change the politics of Kenya. We really have to get out of these briefcase political parties where somebody is just the kingpin of the tribe. He has no idea, he has no way forward thinking, he has no thoughts beyond his tribe. But he just wants to ride on his tribe and say, I'm fit to be president because I have a following of 2 million of my tribesmen. You've seen some of them appear with the president in State House Kisumu, Nairobi, Mombasa, having tea. And each one of them, when you look at them, it's just tribal. They're just there because of tribe, not because they have any idea or any vision of where they want to take this country.
Now, speaking on that, Jubilee was sold as a party to Kenyans, as a party that would bring together all tribes within the country, would go against, any religion, race, creed, issues like that. UDA is also pushing the same narrative. So are you therefore saying categorically that Jubilee, and through the party leader, failed in its promise to the electorate?
Jubilee failed miserably. That is not of anything there's nothing to hide about that. It's right, it's obvious, it's out there. And what we're doing in UDA is relieving the dream of that we had in Jubilee. We are actually going to ensure that what we promised in Jubilee and we couldn't effect, we're going to effect through the UDA party. We have come up with a bottom-up economic model, which is resonating well with Kenyans. We are talking about those at the bottom of the pyramid. And that is why our symbol, the symbol of the party, is the wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrow is a machine. If you leave it out there, it will not move until somebody pushes it. That is a sign of work. It's a sign of let's get down to work. Let every Kenyan, we want every Kenyan to be proud at the end of the day of the food that he has put on his table is out of his sweat. And that is why the hustler narrative comes in. We've seen a lot of people trying to give the hustler narrative all the negativity that they could try. But the hustler narrative is about hard work. It's about rising from nowhere to somewhere. And that is what we want to encourage a majority of our youth, a majority of Kenyans who are hustlers, that it does not matter your background, it does not matter how much money you start a business with, but you can start from scratch and you can get somewhere.
But Mheshimiwa, some of your colleagues even that are elected leaders and propagating what is now being termed quote unquote as wheelbarrownomics are unable to explain even to the electorate and to the public what the bottoms up model is all about. We've seen examples of that even through media outlets when asked this question. So I put it to you. You're saying it's a hustler narrative, you're saying it's about hard work, but if you could break it down for the ordinary mwananchi who's probably, selling things in the market, to the person who's in middle class and has a white-collar job, to the person who probably lives in a leafy suburb, how does the bottom-up economy touch on each and every
What we're
sector?
saying about the bottom-up, I'll give you one simple example. A lot of the traders you see within Nairobi, even those hawkers you see hawking stuff on the streets, they have purchased those items from somewhere, and they have borrowed money. If they borrow 1,000 shillings, by the end of the evening, they will be returning 1,000 shillings, 100. You get? That is how the Shylocks are operating. And Shylock is a legal business in this country. That is how the Shylocks are operating. But we find that is exploiting the people. So we're saying in our model for this, as one of the pillars of bottom up, is we're going to provide seed capital for these people, whereby they can come and borrow. Even if they've been borrowing 1,000, they can come and borrow 2,000, have more merchandise, go and hawk, and return exactly what they borrowed. And whatever they get on top of it is their profit. Because this will be government money. This will be government money. It will be money that is just for them to be able to enhance their businesses. We have said that, for example, where I come from in Uasin Gishu County, where the main activity is farming, we are saying we will provide money for farmers to subsidize the farming industry. We will buy fertilizers, we will buy seeds, we will buy all the chemicals that are required for the farmers. Once you harvest, then you can pay back what the money you took from government to enhance your farming. And that way, everybody will be able to produce healthy crops. They will be able to produce whatever is required to be produced per acre from those who are able and those who are unable. And we will be able to have a food surplus in our country. And those are the little things that don't happen now. They don't happen now. Now we have mega projects. We have a road being built here in Nairobi, which is costing 63 billion shillings. How does that loan, that 63 billion, will be paid by every other person? Even Mama Boga is paying that loan. But how many times will Mama Boga go to the airport and feel that, yes, I have appreciated this 63 billion investment? But if she's given 2,000 shillings, every single day to buy her merchandise and return it back without profit and without stressing, or if I don't make the profit, how am I going to repay it back? She will be given moratorium on when to pay and without stress. Then she will feel happy. Even if that money will have been borrowed, that Kenyan will feel, yes, I have been helped by my government. And those are the things that we are talking about. And that is why it's uncomfortable for many people, because they want to have grand projects which have commissions that come with them. You can imagine if somebody was to get 10% for that the highway from the airport, then that would mean that person will be getting what, 630 million for just signing a piece of paper. We want to have those major finances, huge finances. We scale it down, cascade it down to the local people, either to the constituencies or to the counties or even to the wards, so that every single Kenyan, wherever they are, we want to get our young people off the streets. We want every Kenyan to be making a living from something. And I'm sure we will be able to transform this country.
All right. That brings to the fore, Heshimiwa, a key question that is at the heart of this political cycle, which is the economy. What new thing, besides what you have mentioned, or what would you expect to see from a hustler nation government that would turn around perhaps the economy, the GDP of this country? We saw the difference with the transition from the Moi regime to the Kibaki regime. It grew, now it dipped again with the Jubilee regime under Uhuru Kenyatta. What will the hustler nation change and assure Kenyans that, look, we can actually work on growing the GDP back again?
Yes, that is why, Jackie, I said we're going to be, and the discussion, we're happy, and the Deputy President said we have to change the conversation in this country. And we're happy that the conversation has changed, that now everybody is talking about the economy. Everybody is discussing this bottom up, whether positively or negatively. And we're happy to see that everybody now is no longer talking about an individual, is no longer giving us fairy tales, tialala, tibim, kitandawili. All those things have now faded. Everybody stands up and is discussing what they think is good for the economy. And that is why we've said we're going to discuss and we're going to enhance projects for those who are at the bottom of the pyramid. That is where the bulk of Kenyans are. That is where how to grow an economy, by thinking of those at the bottom of the pyramid. Once you have them active, then definitely even those at the top of the pyramid will benefit, because once they have capital to spend, then they will buy products. So those manufacturers of soap, manufacturers of toothpaste, manufacturers of toothbrushes, manufacturers of all other items, iron sheets, cement, will benefit once those at the bottom of the pyramid are actively in the economy, not just as consumers, but also producing in their own little way.
All right. Let's talk about failed promises once again. I know you had touched on it, Mheshimiwa, but it's been 2 terms. Kenyans are still asking, where are the stadiums that we were promised? Where are, the dams that have now, turned into court cases that haven't been solved? There's so many promises that were made, promises that you yourself will make under UDA and the Hustler Nation government to be as you're campaigning for. How do you change this narrative, as you're saying, a national conversation, but also a believable conversation? Will Kenyans get stadiums, for instance? I think
that is a question that you need to go and ask our party leader, because we had a plan. We know in the first 5 years, Jubilee performed very well. We had a lot of Kenyans who were not connected to the national grid. Actually, we were about 2.5. Now we have risen to about 7. We are heading to 8 million Kenyans connected to electricity. We had I think about 10,000 kilometers of tarmac road. We have increased that, almost doubled that to now 20,000 kilometers of tarmac road, and some are still ongoing, though they have stalled. On the stadiums, we've seen a very, very slow progress on it. In fact, interestingly, I saw in the media, I think it was yesterday or the day before, that there's some old man, I saw it yesterday, who is walking from Baringo to Nairobi, once audience with the president, to have the Kabarnet Stadium completed, because he feels we are losing out on the talent of our young athletes. And I think I really support him. Even if I will be in Nairobi, when he gets to Nairobi, if I will be around, I would like to meet him and support that. So I think of the failed promises, we have a lot of them. And I think the best person to direct that is the head of government, who is the president. But we must say that the handshake politics really came and messed up our agenda. It got our president off the rail. We had the Big Four agenda, and that has stalled. That has taken. It's in the shelf somewhere. Something called BBI came. We saw a lot of arrogance and bravado and hubris by those who were pushing BBI. And now that BBI has hit the rock, I think it's time for our president it's never too late to dust himself up, recall the Jubilee team, and let's get back to the agenda within this remaining, I would call it 7 months, because it wouldn't be 11 months, 7 months. We can salvage something.
But in the spirit of oneness, Mheshimiwa, let me just put it out there to you. Why the bitterness with the handshake, yet you're championing for oneness in this country?
One, Jacque, I never believed in the handshake because of the reasons that were given. We were told that we had the handshake so that we may have peace. But what is peace? What is peace? And what were the reasons for the handshake? The reason for the handshake is so that Raila and ODM do not call people to the streets and claim that they never lost the elections. But then we're setting a very bad precedent, such that if I were to run for elections and I lose, then I just call people to the streets, and whoever will have won will call me, and we have a handshake, and then we agree we are going to run the country together. So we are setting a bad precedence. What we should be setting is we should first believe in our institutions, believe that we have a credible IEBC, accept political election results, and we move on. That is where they should have started. Up to today, ODM has never accepted that they lost the 2017 elections. They still believe that it was rigged. We went for a repeat election, which they boycotted. So I don't know which election they're talking about was rigged, because the one they claimed was rigged was nullified. Then we went for one which they boycotted, hence we won. But they still talk. And at times I look at our president, it's as if he believes he never won the election. So it really is confusing. So this handshake is a wrong thing. because we cannot be having handshake to people who do not accept political results, who do not accept defeat, who believe that they enter an election and they are supposed to win because they've just created some euphoria. So that is why I don't agree with the handshake. Secondly, the handshake never brought all Kenyans aboard. It was a two-people affair. These other guys, the other NASA, former NASA fellows, were roped in. Were roped in later. The deputy president was completely left out, and we saw then the fallout between the president and the deputy president come out, and that is why we said this handshake was part of the plan. Was part of the plan to age out William Ruto, and I think somehow maybe the two principles of the handshake believe that once we come together, this William Ruto will be we will be too powerful, and we will have weakened William Ruto, and they will not offer any resistance. We can then go on and change the constitution the way we wish, although that is not the wish of Kenyans. And we thank God that William Ruto stood firm. And gave the reasons why he thought that we could do it in a better way. We supported him, and we thank God that where we are now, we have been vindicated that BBI was had a lot of irregularities. It was actually, as I said before, it was a highly spoken about affair, but very unpopular.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, so strained is this marriage in Jubilee that the president asked, in no uncertain terms, the deputy president to resign. Did any of you see this coming?
No, we never saw it coming, and I'm shocked at the president for having said that. But I may not be so shocked about the president saying that. What I'm shocked is about who is advising Uhuru Kenyatta. Does he consult before he calls even media to give such statements? Because I believe as a leader of a nation, as the CEO of the nation, he should measure his words, and he should measure them with a very, very, very high level of measurement, because the Constitution of Kenya is very clear. There are only two ways you can remove a deputy president. One, if he's of unsound mind. Two, by impeachment. And you bring a motion of impeachment to Parliament, and that is how you can remove him. Those are the only ways. There is no other way. So calling on the deputy to quit is not provided for in the Constitution, and the president must know that, unless he has not read our Constitution. So I think it was very unfortunate. I believe that the president should consult before he goes to any media house. He should consult. He should be guarded and on what he's going to say. He should do his own personal research. He's an intelligent person. He should do his own personal research and know that what he says is actually going to be listened to and repeated again and again for Kenyans to know. And usually they say, Jackie, the internet never forgets. So that is now on record, and it is for him to defend himself. But I think it was uncalled for him to call on the deputy president, because there is no single moment that the president has said, I asked my deputy president to do this as per the Constitution, and he failed to deliver, or he refused. We're waiting for that moment when he say, I sent him to this place and he failed to deliver, or he refused to go. Then we can be able to say, okay, fine, Mr. Deputy President, here you are wrong. But as it is now, there's nothing no duty, no official duty that the president or assignment that the deputy president has been given that he has failed to deliver.
Is there a feeling among UDA members and supporters of the deputy president that he probably could be a man under siege, or there's a deliberate attempt to embarrass him to the extent of having a change of guard even at his official residence, and instances that we have seen even him traversing the country, and we've had security being withdrawn or being told not to attend or disrupt meetings?
Yes, we have seen a lot of attempts, and we've even seen cabinet secretaries tripping over each other on who can insult the deputy president more than the other. It's a very unfortunate incident, because Jacque, you were in the campaign trail in 2017. We met several times when you were assigned to the presidential team, and you know what the deputy president did. Because of the president's busy schedule, there were moments when we'd have 5 or 6 meetings lined up for campaign, and the deputy president would go to about 4 or 5, and then the president would join him in the last 2. Yeah. And this Ruto was not campaigning for presidency, he was campaigning for Uhuru Kenyatta. He put in a lot of time and effort, energy, and resources to have this government in place. Those cabinet ministers who are now insulting him were coiled somewhere in their duvets. They were not there on the campaign trail with us, but such is our constitution that we appoint members of the cabinet from outside parliament, and we have to live with that. So we know what the deputy president did. We know what he's going through now. It's actually very unfortunate. But in a way, I think some things happen for a reason. There is a reason why the deputy president is going through this. I think he's being molded to be a better leader. He's on record as saying that should he ascend to the presidency, he would never ever allow what is being done to him to happen to his deputy president. So I think he's becoming a better leader because of this. I think going forward in a Ruto presidency, we'll see how a president should work with his deputy.
Now, as we wind up, Mheshimiwa, we've seen, discussions around banning of public gatherings and whatnot, but with the pandemic, of course, limiting such activities. Before that, we have heard, leaders being castigated over what has been termed early campaigning. And yet we are seeing others still trying to make forays across the country. What do you make of these leaders who are particularly, say, going into this vote-rich region, such as Mount Kenya? There's the rush for the mountain. And what has the Rift, decided in as far as the deputy president is concerned? As he is termed as the kingpin. There's questions to that, of course, by other leaders that want to identify themselves as such. What is the Rift saying, and what do you make of the forays into other parts of the country?
Well, I think I've said earlier that William Ruto is a national leader. We don't want to bring him down as a Rift Valley leader. I don't believe in this kingpin story. I think, if anything, William Ruto is a kingpin of Kenya, because he's one person who is loved across the country. But of course, he has a home. He has a home, and so we can't run away from the fact that he comes from Rift Valley. And we in Rift Valley, we are happy with his ambition. He has been blessed by the elders. We have actually decided that as and when he feels like coming to Rift Valley, he can come anytime, but he will not be coming to campaign. Maybe he will just be coming to grace wedding occasions or church functions or whatever. But on the issue of who our presidential candidate is, we as the people who reside in Rift Valley, together with other Kenyans, we have accepted that it shall be William Ruto. So he will no longer be coming home to seek for political support. That is already guaranteed. He has that in the bag. What we have as people of Rift Valley, we have decided, let him traverse the country. Let him seek votes wherever he can get as many votes as possible. We have seen, of course, of late, you mentioned about the COVID-19 protocols of gatherings and all. Yes, those protocols are in place, but it seems that they are in place in as far as William Ruto is concerned, and for other presidential candidates, it's okay for them to move around. But I think we are in a good place in the fact that William Ruto is not a lazy person. He never waited to be endorsed by Uhuru Kenyatta. And I think Uhuru Kenyatta should borrow a leaf. His father never had the luxury to manage his transition because he died while in office. So President Moi took over as per the constitution at that time. President Moi tried to manage his succession and failed miserably. President Mwai Kibaki learned from President Moi's attempt to manage his succession, and Kibaki kept off his succession. And that is why people remember Kibaki for the vibrant economy that he left. They don't remember him for trying to manage his succession, trying to mistreat his deputy president or anything. And that is what we hope as a friend. And President Uhuru is my personal friend, apart from being my president and party leader. I was hoping that he would follow from that cue from Kibaki, borrow that cue from Kibaki, and leave the management of his successor to the people of Kenya, and let the people decide on their own, especially keeping off those in the executive from trying to manage the political process, because Kenyans are intelligent enough. They have been electing leaders since 1963. We have never failed to hold elections every 5 years. I also believe that we shall hold elections on the 9th of August 2022. Kenyans seem to have already decided, majority of them, on who they would vote for their presidential candidate. The political party, the most popular political party now is UDA. And I think we should ask our president to let Kenyans manage their own political affairs. He should focus on his legacy. He has a lot of time to leave a good legacy. Let him drop the BBI story now, because that is a matter that is dead. The reggae has stopped, and I think it has stopped permanently. And I think President Uhuru Kenyatta, aside from mistreating his president, aside from trying to change the constitution, there's a lot of good that he has done. But all that good is now being blocked. So there's a curtain on it, this BBI curtain, and the mistreatment of the deputy president is on it. The issue of withdrawal of security or downgrading of security is neither here nor there. It's really not a bother. I believe, I was telling the deputy president yesterday, that even if he left his doors open with no guards, even if they were not the APs or the G4S, as he mentioned the other day, nobody, no Kenyan of goodwill would want to do any harm to the deputy president. He's loved by all Kenyans. He's loved by the ordinary people because he has spoken for them. He has brought out their issues. Right now, everybody knows there's a Mamamboga, there's a Boda guy, there's a Mitumba guy, there's a hawker somewhere who needs to be given a chance to be discussed, his issues to be brought on top of the table so that he can be assisted. So I think those who would want to cause harm to the deputy president are fewer than those who would wish him well.
All right. Your word to the youth who form the biggest chunk of the electorate, and particularly to those who have started a rallying call saying to Mechoka and it is time to go, and winds of change are billowing. What is your word to them, this particular
My word to the youth of this country is that we are entering the political stage. This is when you find now politicians who have been avoiding the youth, who have not been attending to their issues, will now come and try and be actively involved. And mostly they will be used to try and stop other people from addressing meetings like or heckling them and all. My call from the youth is this time, if anybody comes with you with money to try and stop a meeting or to try and disrupt any meeting of a presidential candidate or even if he's an MCA candidate, take the money, go and do a business with it, but do not disrupt any campaign. Let us have a very peaceful campaign. Let us have some maturity in our politics. We want to change this country. We want to change the way we do things. We want to change how we elect our leaders. We want to elect leaders who resonate well with the people, leaders who will be available before elections and even after elections. And we want to assure them that their hopes are with the UDA party. Their aspirations and their new life will be with a William Ruto presidency in 2022.
And for the people of Soy, their aspirations?
Well, the people of Soy, I know we've had a lot of developments that we've done. Of course, some shortcomings because of how government issues slowed down, like connectivity of electricity. Some roads that were being tarmacked have gone slow. But we hope that we shall achieve that. But for the people of Soy, I want to thank them for the time we have worked together. I will be running for the governor of Uasin Gishu in 2022, so I will be seeking to be promoted to the level of governor. I think my chances are very good. I have a plan for Uasin Gishu County. And I think the people of Soy and the people of Uasin Gishu have confidence in my leadership. We have come a long way with them. I've been in leadership for a very long time. For the last 33 years now, I've been active in politics. So I think I have the experience that is required to run the county of Uasin Gishu. One thing that we must enhance is that tribalism, the tribal lenses, we have thrown them away. We are going to run this country as Kenya, one country, whereby everybody, irrespective of your background, irrespective of your financial status, whether your father was a known person or unknown, we are all going to be on the same slate, and we are going to try and change Kenya together.
On that note, we'll leave it at that and pick up this conversation with you, Mheshimiwa, as we take stock of how the election cycle will go and our eyes on the ballot. This is the Jacque Maribe Show. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time, and God bless.
My name is Kositany, the Member of Parliament for Soy Constituency in Uasin Gishu County. I want to urge all Kenyans, let's continue watching the Jacque Maribe Show. Very informative, very interactive. As we enter the election period, I want to urge all our people, especially the youth, to be very careful of politicians who will try and incite them against other politicians whom they don't agree with their policies. We want our youth to allow everybody to move freely, allow all meetings to go on freely. If you are given money to disrupt any political function, take the money, go and enjoy yourselves and let the politicians do their bit. And we want to allow Kenyans to have the best leader, to choose the best leader that they have decided. But the most important thing, let us have peaceful elections. No Kenyan, no life deserves to be lost because of political competition.
This is the Jacque Maribe Show.